Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Plus3 Futures and Commodities Show. This is our monthly edition where we review the May bars that just came in, and we've got about a week or so of June bars as we're recording here on June 8th. My name's Ben Maldonado. As always, I'm here with my partner, Barry Hederachi. How are you, Barry? Ready to go up in the plane and take a 10,000-foot view at the world?
Let's do it. I think it's about time we do one of these.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
very important time.
And let's start off with Bitcoin. The interesting thing, man, is it's hanging on for dear life, like someone hanging off the Empire State Building with their fingers on the ledge. I mean, you could see how important this full square is. I mean, if you just go back, we're looking at, this is like, call it 31,100, 150 area. 3 times we tested here. We got 3 closes above. Last month, we made a big push down below it, closed above. And now in June, price is smack dab on it.
Out of gas.
Yes. So on a monthly basis, man, this 31.1 level is really, really important. We get below it, you're talking about the half square at about 18,000. And then obviously if it goes crazy on the full square, you're looking at 4,000. I mean, that's Armageddon for the Bitcoin holders. But that's, right. I mean, that's the square that opens up once we lose that level. So,
but that half square support looks pretty solid.
It is. You had the highs here in 2018. You had a check back here as it was breaking out. So certainly that 17,850 level, 18,000 level is going to be really important if we lose this square. So that's Bitcoin. Nothing much has changed, but look how beautifully this square, has handled the volatility with pricing. We know the key level. Watch it and see what happens.
And we cover these every week anyway. You cover these on every Bitcoin every Saturday.
Sure, on a daily basis. Yep. Here we got the ES. Everybody knows what happened in May. We had, a lot of weakness this year. I was looking at this and comparing this to the NQs. We've had one up bar this year. One. So 1 month we made a higher high and didn't make a lower low. And that was, of course, March on that big counter trend rally. Every other month has been a down bar. Mm-hmm. So that's what we've been dealing with. We tested the full square during the month of May. We rallied out of that. That level, call it, 39.45, so 39.50 area. June so far, we're just inside this big March month, and anybody that's tried to trade ES for the last couple of weeks has just been caught in chop. So 39.50, obviously a key level. We lose that level on a monthly basis. Next stop is, call it 35.40 at the half square, and we lose that. You're talking 3,100 for the ES. We also get to draw on this trend line. See you connecting that low, the March low with the May low that we just had. That was the COVID low. So let's see. We got a couple markers there to look at. Obviously, not a pretty picture. The picture doesn't change until we can take out this half square, which is, call it 43.50, 43.60. If we can get above it, clear it, then we open up the full square. Not a very bullish picture. Let's jump to the NQs. NQs are even weaker, as one would imagine. We have not had one single up bar this year. Not one. Even the rally in March, it was an outside bar. We still made a lower low in March. Right. So the key level here, as you can see, and in June, we're going to probably test that, is this full square, which, call it 13,100 area. Mm-hmm. If we get above that, we can get a little movement, but this is weak.
Right.
I mean, really, really weak. And if we don't get above that, you really got to watch out, because that's a huge sign of weakness. All it could do is burn off time and go sideways, and couldn't even really make any progress into this other square. I know you've been looking at some of the tech stocks individually, Barry, anything else to add on the NQs?
Well, NQs, I'd say until the May high gets taken out, there's no reversal in place, and that's a little bit higher than the square line. So
Yeah,
really, that needs to get taken out technically
yeah,
to be a reversal, right? So
that's right. To have an up month, we got to take
yeah,
out that high.
right, and I don't see that coming right away. So
Now that's 13,600 area. So I mean, we got work to do to get up there.
Yep.
It's weaker than ES and not showing a lot of strength yet. Seems like there's still a lot of sellers. Here's one that I've stretched out the chart to show you because of this huge trend line that we talked about last month, 40-year trend line. This 30-year bonds. We bounced up, but if you look at the actual bars, you can see we haven't even made any up bars. The last up bar we saw was the month of March.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been down, 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 and May's down, and even June is an inside bar right now, and looks like we're heading to test this trend line again. And remember, this trend line goes back to 81, 84, and we just hit it last month, and now we're showing more weakness in bonds. I have the ABC drawn in, but that takes you down here. I certainly think the full square, whether it's this month, next month, 3 months is where we're heading right now, which is around, call it 126.5. And we're sitting right now about 137. So bonds are weak. Not a lot of bounce on the counter trend that we've been seeing. Anything else to add on bonds?
No, I think that's a good cover for the monthly.
Let's check out the grains.
Mm-hmm.
Here we got wheat. And the interesting thing about wheat, we found the high on the full square, and now the support is coming in pretty strongly. You can see it for essentially three months now is on this full square level. And the full square level here is right around, call it 1,050. And, the monthly closes, the opens, everything, the action is all around this 1,050 level. And it looks like it wants to burn off some time. The key difference why I think we have much higher to go in most of these commodities is when they really make highs, go back and look at 2008. Look what happens, right? It's down, 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 down. It's not sit around.
Mm-hmm.
And we're kind of sitting around here, in the same square where we made the high. So, I mean, as long as we do that and don't see, tremendous weakness, even if we came down here, right, and tested the 2011, 2012 highs around the half square, it's still bullish long term.
Mm-hmm.
So wheat looks good. It's still correcting, burning off time, but I think we've got higher prices over the next couple of years in wheat as well. Anything to add on wheat?
Well, just that that half square below is really the critical level to watch, and anything about that is all goes into the bullish picture scenario.
Absolutely,
100%.
100%. Here's corn. Corn is interesting in that it, again, we found the high and been sort of chopping around it on this full square in the, call it 780 area. I think a lot like wheat, it's not screaming out of here like it's done previous tops. It's sticking around. This last pullback, perfect structural test with, the highs last fall or last May, actually. So I don't see anything wrong with this chart. Again, the key level is that 780. If we can get above that and clear it, you can rest assured the odds favor that the next level, the next move higher is starting. So corn looks good to me. Anything else to add, Barry?
No, just the half square. Again, that's the key level to watch.
Yep. Let's go to beans. Beans has been surprisingly the strongest one in the group. I mean, it has been poking and prodding these highs that it made early in 2022 every month for the last 3-4 months. You can see the bullish thing that I see here is every pullback has held above this full square. And this full square was significant. You can see it caught the 2008 highs. it caught the highs in 2012, 13, 14, everything, kind of stayed under there. And now we're sitting on top. So soybeans looks really good. Looks like it wants to break out and move higher. We tested these highs, last couple days. Be interesting to see if on the daily, if we can get a breakout, because that could signal the next leg up starting.
Mm-hmm.
I know you've been bullish on beans. Any different perspective here?
Well, I think it's a positive sign that we're holding about that square 72 up there.
Mm-hmm.
As long as we're up there, we're just waiting for the next leg to start.
Right. So if you have your momentum indicators on lower time frames, when you see the momentum kick in, that means this thing's ready to go and starting again.
At least go and check that ABCD going up.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is up probably around this full square.
Uh-huh.
Because we did a little over a square here.
Yeah.
So it would be up in here. 2,000 beans. Wow. Probably gonna happen. All right, let's check some softs. Here's sugar. This one is interesting, and I've had it on the radar for the weekly show for a few weeks now, and you can see why. We've been winding up in this triangle for almost a year now. It's a bullish triangle in my opinion, because we're essentially doing, most of this price action is above this half square, which is, call it around 1850, 1860 level. And price has been stuck, between 2050 and 1850, as I said, for almost a full year. I believe that the odds favor we're going to get this break higher when this triangle breaks.
Mm-hmm.
It's the full square, which is around, call it 2350. And then we take out those highs, then it's all-time highs. I mean, I think $30 sugar over the next year or two is what this monthly chart is telling me. What's it saying to you, Barry?
Well, it's saying be patient.
Yeah. Wait for the triangle to break on the bigger picture.
Absolutely. Just waiting for it to finish up.
Exactly. And you can see with all the commodities, different ones are in different places. A lot of them, like the grains we just saw, are all in have been in consolidation or correction mode for a couple months. Sugar about a year. There's a couple that are moving, but a lot of them are in this consolidation mode. And the key is to not get, lulled to sleep when you miss it, when the next big move's coming, because it's basically they're burning time without giving up a lot in terms of prices off the highs. And that generally is a bullish thing. Cotton, here's the consolidation I think that you can look at, that we're the same kind of pattern we had in sugar. And then look at this move you got out of cotton last year after that consolidation, after that triangle. This was about a 6 month triangle. And then we get the big move, tops out on a full square. And now we're correcting a little bit here again. I hate to be repetitive, but this half square is kind of the key on any pullbacks. If we can hold the half square, which call it, 124 area, we hold that, then it comes back up. We test the highs, we clear that. And I do think cotton is going to challenge these all-time highs here, not too distant future. But we're just using the squares as places to trade against, right? We're looking for spots where, okay, if we can't get through here, we should get a pullback. If we can hold here, then you got a good risk reward trade. Anything to add on cotton?
No, I think we're good.
This is one that is sort of the white whale, man. It keeps tantalizing us, right? Mm-hmm. Here we've got an 8-year triangle. If you take from when it started, in 2014, 2015. But notice how tight we're starting to wind up. When this thing breaks, the energy that's been built up is going to be a lot like all the other commodities were a year and 2 years ago. When they make that initial break out of this range, it is a massive move and a powerful move. This kind of move. And that's what I think we're looking at. We're just being patient. We're waiting for, cocoa to pick the direction, break out, and then give us a pullback and an entry. The cool thing is, if you look at where the square is and the triangle, it's essentially the apex is our full square. So we're rotating around this full square, just waiting for the move that can break out, settle down on top, and then we take off. Sort of like this, right? boom. Sideways, up, down, boom. This is the pattern we're looking at. And when we see it, we'll be on it and we'll be trading the bullish side of cocoa. Anything else to add here, Barry?
No, we're good. I think we have time. So
Yeah, that's right. Just wait. We just got to be patient with that one.
mm-hmm.
Next one is coffee. This is one that to me looks like it's ready to really take off on the next leg up. We've had about a 7-8 month sort of correction here, made a high, pulled back, and now we're sort of moving up off this full square. This full square in this call it 210, 212 area is super important. It was the highs in 21. It was the highs in 13, 14. It is a really important area. As long as we are on top of that, coffee is poised to go much higher. I think challenging the all-time highs, call it around 300. And if we can get up there and clear that, again, my thesis is that all of these commodities are going to make all-time highs. And if that holds true, $400 coffee, not unrealistic. Anything to add here on coffee?
We're good. Another commodity in a corrective pattern. So we're waiting.
Just waiting for the timing. Let's go check out some of the metals. Here's one that's a perfect example of something that's been correcting for almost 2 years now. If you take it off of this high, which was in 2020, we're sitting in almost halfway through 2022, and we've essentially been going, sideways to slightly down. I do think gold is starting to show signs of accumulation where we're getting these higher lows that keep coming in. The key level on a monthly basis is this 1925, 1926. We can get on top and settle on top of that. It obviously opens up this full square, but you can also see from a structural standpoint, looking back at 2011, why that area is so important. We get on top of that, we're sitting on top of those highs, which will be extremely bullish. So this whole pattern since that high in 2020, in August of 2020, essentially has been consolidating in and around these high prices from 2011, 12, and 13. So it is bullish. It's wearing people out patient-wise, but I think you got to have a core position as long as this half square holds, which is around 1675. This all is just chop and very bullish if we can clear that 1925. I know you review gold every week and you look at the weeklies and the dailies. Any other insight to add here from the
well, I think
picture?
that you took it right out of my mouth, because that half square is a key level to watch here, and we already tapped it twice and moving higher. So I think it's here. It's not even waiting. It's just playing the long side as you see the opportunities.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Here's gold's little brother, silver. Not as dramatic as gold because we haven't even approached the highs from 2011 yet, but nonetheless a bullish chart. And here's why. The full square here, which is around, call it 2075, that area is key because not only because we have a full square there, but it's on top of this entire 7-year consolidation. As long as we're on top of that, man, there's nothing bearish about this chart.
No.
And I think, the breakout happens at the half square, which, call it 2920 area. We sit on top of that. Then it's all-time highs for silver. $40, $50 silver, I think is in the cards, provided that, we can hold this level and not break down below it. If we come back into this range, then we may chop around and we have, maybe a year or two of, more mess. But as long as we're on top of that consolidation range, man, it's a platform to springboard higher. Anything else to add on silver?
Well, just that it looks like a complex 2. We had the 1 coming off that false break at the bottom. So you might be right there, because, if the 3 takes off, it's going to go hit, at least that upper square. We're probably going to make new highs at some point.
Yep, that would be 54 if we hit this.
Might
upper
not be
square.
next month. Might have to wait a year or two for that. So
But it could be a hell of a fast move, something like this.
yeah,
Take a
it's
couple
gonna be.
years, but do
Well,
this. Type
silver,
of
right? It's either no move or a fast move. So
That's right.
one or the other.
No question about it. There's copper. Copper's another very interesting pattern in that it's very similar to gold, where we've had serious up and down movement without going anywhere for a year and a half, 10 months, 12 months, 18 months. But the price action we're seeing is all around previous all-time highs. So again, I don't think it's a matter of if it's going to push and make a new high. It's a matter of when and making sure we catch it. Last month, we had a really sharp move lower. And then look at what we've done so far this month, right back above the full square. So I am bullish on copper. I think we got to get settled above this 430, 440 area. I've talked about it on the weekly show. This expanding triangle sort of thing that we're doing is is pointing towards higher prices too, even if it's just a trade. But settling above this 442 on a monthly basis would be very, very bullish, because it's something we haven't been able to do since May of 2021, a year ago. Anything to add on copper?
Not really. I think we just have to wait this out, just like all the other commodities that are resting after the moves last couple of years. So just watching
and waiting.
Yep.
Here's one that is actually moving, and we've been all over this one. And the signs are bullish, the technicals are bullish, the cycles are bullish, and the price action is bullish. You can see what happens when you get on top of a square. Started back here in 2021, pushed through, sat on top, pushed up to the next square. We couldn't quite get through there, so we pulled back. Now we're pushing through this square again. The monthly close last month was the first monthly close we've seen above this full square in the call it 114, 115 range since 2008. And now we're sitting up. Now if we can hold and stay on top of this level for this month, then we're on top of all this price action here. It looks like, we're in a sort of acceleration phase. Today, actually, crude was up a couple bucks, closed, 122.40, the highest close again since 2008. Next test is going to be the half square here, which is around 127. We clear that, monthly basis, it's, up challenging those highs, 140, 150 on deck. I know you've been super bullish on crude. Any other insight to add?
Well, stay long, and I think we should at least go and test those old highs on this leg without further delay. So
yeah, it looks good. It looks strong.
It's good. It's an easy chart.
All right, let's go to the last one. Believe it or not, we've done around the world in the commodities pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one that's just been a monster this year: natural gas. And we had a big reversal today. It ended up, down, I think 5-6%.
Right,
But look,
right
where
off the square.
look where the high came in.
Mm-hmm.
Right off the full square. So are we surprised that we're seeing some sort of pullback? No, not really. Does it make it less bullish? Definitely not. This is how it moves, right? It moves level to level. Look at how we came into this. We made up to this full square, pulled back to the half square. Next move took it through the full square all the way up to the top. So if we get a pullback to, say, 770 would be extremely bullish, even if we came back down here, around
even to the full square.
650 or 650 or 570, still bullish. So this looks really good. I do not see anything bearish. We do know that we came in on a full square high. We're probably due for some sort of consolidation or pullback. So, buying up on a stilt is not generally a successful strategy. But pick your spots, right? Look at the full square, look at your dailies, look at the half squares, pick your spots where you got a good risk reward ratio. Unfortunately, for all of us that have to pay natural gas bills, it does look like higher highs are coming. Anything else to add on natural gas?
Well, I just want to tell people, it'll be good to go back and look at all the early monthly shows you've done and all the weekly ones, even going back a couple of years, because you've been on this from day one.
Yeah.
Even before we broke that trend line, I remember, even at that little triangle at the bottom in
Right here. Yeah.
yeah, you were all over it, and here we are. Nice ride.
Thanks. And listen, it's not, there's no crystal ball or no magic or anything. It's basically just looking at the pattern, using the squares, and, tilting the odds in your favor. When you're breaking a 15-year trend line, that's a big move. Or when you pull back to a half square, or you pull back to a full square, like in some of the other charts, it gives you a good risk reward ratio. You're going to be right more than you're wrong, but the point is, when you're right, you're really right, and when you're wrong, you take small losses. And that's how we try and use these big picture charts, is to say, okay, given the structure of the monthly, if the monthly is bullish, go down to the shorter time frames, find good risk reward spots, and try and get long. You don't have to worry about what's the direction. You worry about how do we get in with a good risk reward ratio.
Yep.
And in the commodity space, we continue to have that sort of setup where big picture very bullish, shorter time frames correcting and consolidating. So you're looking for spots where you've got a good risk reward to get long. On the other markets, when you're talking about bonds, you're talking about Bitcoin, you're talking about NQs, you're talking about ES, it's the reverse. Bigger picture is very negative. So there we're looking for good spots where you're at resistance, or where a counter trend could fail, and you're looking to get short because the tailwind on those markets is behind you on the short side. And Barry and I talk about that all the time when we're looking at a market, is, what's the big picture? Okay, how do we find a good entry that is congruent with the big picture trend?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we think these monthlies are important, why we do the monthly show, and hope you use it that way, because it'll keep you on the right side of the major trend, and that's where most of the money is made. Anything else to add on the monthly big picture, Barry? Sort of a big picture look.
Well, I think on all the commodities, maybe it's a summer of being patient, but at least going through June, I think June, July, perhaps just waiting for these corrections and consolidations to finish up. And it's a matter of keeping your powder dry till conditions mature again, right? For a run.
Absolutely.
And they're all winding up. You can see it.
Definitely. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Barry, thanks for doing the monthlies here again. As I say, it gives us a unique perspective and an important perspective to make sure that we understand what is the bigger picture, what is the big trend, and we want to stay in harmony with that, even though we're trading a lower time frame.
Yep.
All right, take care, everybody. Barry, take care, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Ben. Good job.
All right, thanks.
Bye-bye.